All right, so welcome to the deep dive where we take those sources you send us and try to really pull out the most insightful stuff. You know, the kind of stuff that helps you get a deeper understanding and fast. And today, we're diving deep, really deep into Martha Beck's Beyond Anxiety.
This is going to be good.
It is. It is. And especially for you, our listener, because the whole mission here is to explore this really interesting perspective Beck offers. That anxiety, it's not something to be defeated, not some enemy, but a signal, like a guidepost.
Real quick, if you're enjoying this, make sure to hit that subscribe button.
Absolutely. Let's do this.
Okay. So right off the bat, what struck me was how Beck really reframes how we think about anxiety. Like in a world where we're so quick to just, try to suppress it or pop a pill, she's saying, hey, what if it's information?
Right. It makes you think, what are we missing when we try to shut it up?
Totally. And in that BookTalkers podcast, they really emphasized this core idea from the book. It was like, anxiety is not the enemy, it's a signal. And I think we should just let that sink in for a sec. Like, think about a time you felt anxious, right? What if that tightness in your chest or that rush of thoughts, what if it wasn't, a malfunction? What if it was your system, your whole being trying to tell you something? Like maybe you're just pushing yourself too hard, or a relationship isn't right, or maybe, honestly, you're just not living in a way that feels, I don't know, true to who you are.
Yeah, and it connects to this bigger picture of like well-being in general,
Yeah.
We're starting to realize that our emotions, even the tough ones, they have something to tell us. And Beck is saying, instead of just reaching for that quick fix, try listening, really tuning in, especially for someone like you, our listener, who wants to learn things efficiently. Getting this basic idea is so huge. It changes everything.
It does, because so much of the advice out there is just about like quick fixes, breathing exercises, distractions, and those can help for sure. But Beck is going deeper. She's talking about what they called in the podcast was shifting your mental operating system, like changing those deep down patterns of how you think and react, going from fear to a place of inner peace.
And that's where it gets exciting. It's not about managing symptoms. It's about changing the whole system.
Yeah, it's like upgrading your computer's whole software, not just closing a troublesome app.
Exactly. Looking at the underlying code, the beliefs and assumptions that make us anxious. And that's what makes this so appealing, right? You don't just want to escape anxiety for a minute. You want to transform your whole relationship with it. And that means going inward, exploring.
And to do that, one of Beck's main tools is the observer mind. The BookTalkers host described it as becoming a watcher of your thoughts, not a victim of them. Like imagine you're sitting by a river and your thoughts are leaves floating by. You see them, but you don't jump in and get swept away.
And that's so key because, when you're in your anxious thoughts, you think they're true and you react, right? But when you observe them, you create space. You start seeing thoughts as just, events in your mind, not facts or orders. For anyone feeling overwhelmed, that ability to make mental space is so powerful.
It's like hitting pause on that inner chaos and building on that. Beck brings up this feel it to heal it idea. And I think a lot of us, when we feel anxious, we try to push it down, make it go away. But Beck says, and I love this, she says to let it pass through your body like a wave, like really experience it.
And what's interesting here is how she focuses on the physical, We get so caught up in the mental story, the worries, that we forget about our body, our heart racing, tense shoulders. Beck's saying, hey, turn towards those feelings, notice them, but without judgment. And by letting ourselves feel it, we can actually process it. And a lot of times, it just fades away. It's a really cool technique you can try.
Yeah, it's not about like obsessing over the feeling, but just letting it run its course. And when you get that, it leads to another big shift Beck talks about. Going from survival mode to creative mode. When we're anxious, we're in that fight or flight mode, just seeing threats everywhere. But Beck wants to help us find a calmer place, even when we're anxious, a place where we can be creative, solve problems, even heal.
And think about, someone in their 20s or 30s, right? The pressure of work, relationships, figuring life out, anxiety can really block that creative spark, make it hard to see solutions. What Beck offers is a way to break that cycle, to find that inner stability, even when things are crazy, and tap into that creative energy to handle challenges and create a life you love.
And a big part of that is tuning into what Beck calls the inner compass. It's that deep down feeling that yes or no you feel in your gut. And she's saying, listen to that more than all the outside expectations, all the shoulds.
Right, because there's so much noise out there, right? Social media, advice coming from everywhere, pressure from society. It's about finding your own authority, knowing you have wisdom inside you, learning to hear that quiet voice of intuition.
And it's not about fixing yourself. Like, there's something wrong. Like the Book Talkers host said, beyond anxiety is about reconnecting to your essence, treating yourself with love, kindness, and calm, not judgment.
And that's a big deal, you know. We're so used to this idea of self-improvement being about fixing flaws. But Becca's saying, no, it's about peeling back those layers of fear and self-doubt to find the good stuff that's already there. Self-compassion and acceptance are really at the heart of her work.
And this brings us to I think, a really core message of the book that the podcast highlighted. They said, you don't have to fight your anxiety to overcome it. You have to listen to it. So instead of seeing anxiety as this monster to be defeated, Beck is saying, hey, it's a messenger. It's got something to tell you.
And when you make that shift, when anxiety isn't the enemy anymore, but a signal, that's when things can really change. It's about moving from fear to curiosity. Like, okay, what is this feeling saying? What needs my attention in my life? Those are the empowering questions Beck wants us to ask. It's a huge aha moment, a real turning point. And hey, you know, if you're enjoying this deep dive, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes just like this. We're exploring all sorts of fascinating topics, and your support helps us keep bringing you these insightful conversations.
Absolutely. And what's so cool about Beck's approach is how she brings in all these different ways of understanding anxiety. Like, the Book Talkers host said the book felt deeply human, profoundly spiritual, and refreshingly scientific all at once, blending neuroscience, coaching insights, mindfulness, and personal wisdom. It's not just one thing. It's a whole tapestry of understanding.
Yeah, and that makes it so powerful. It doesn't matter if you're someone who loves the science of how the brain works, or if you're more into mindfulness or coaching techniques, there's something here for you. She's saying anxiety is complicated, and here are lots of tools to help you deal with it.
And one of those tools, and I found this so helpful, is the idea of the power of the present moment. Because so often anxiety comes from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, right? But Beck reminds us that bringing our attention to right now, to this moment, can really break that anxious cycle.
It's true. And things like mindfulness or even just, you know, paying attention to what you're sensing right now, those are key to Beck's teaching. By grounding yourself in the present, you can stop those anxious thoughts from spinning and find some peace, even when things feel chaotic around you. It's really practical advice you can use every day.
Okay, so we're wrapping up our deep dive into Martha Beck's Beyond Anxiety, and I think we've uncovered a pretty big idea here. That anxiety isn't just this bad feeling to be squashed, but a valuable guide. We talked about changing your whole mindset, becoming an observer of your thoughts, the power of actually feeling your emotions, finding a creative mindset, trusting your gut, reconnecting with who you truly are, and listening to anxiety instead of fearing it. We even talked about how Beck brings in science, spirituality, and personal wisdom, and of course, how powerful it can be to just be present.
And you know, what Beck offers is a hopeful and empowering way to look at anxiety. It's not a war within ourselves, but a journey of self-discovery. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into amazing books and ideas. We're here to help you get more knowledge, more wisdom in less time.
Exactly. So for you, our listener, think about this. What could change in your life if you approached your anxiety with curiosity, not fear? What might you discover?
Like and subscribe.